My father was sure that I was going to be a boy. He always envisioned himself playing his favorite sports, football, basketball, baseball, with his son. Instead, he got me, a daughter. Of course, girls can be incredible athletes as well, but that just wasn't me. But in the end, it didn't matter at all. Even though my interests and talents were different from his, I always came first in his life. My dad made sure he never once missed one of my concerts or musicals. He even gave up broadcasting a state baseball tournament to see me off to my senior prom. But even though his only child never played the sports he really loved, my dad has still attended thousands of youth and high school games. Better yet, for over 35 years, he has gotten to broadcast the games over the radio to those who shared his passion. For the student athletes, their parents, the coaches, and other fans, my dad helped ensure those games would turn into memories. After the clock expired or the last out was made, my dad recognized the top performers in various ways, both before the end of the broadcast and later on in his morning show. And when the teams he covered went on the road towards a championship, my dad followed along to bring the action back home to friends and family across northern Chautauqua County. But even with all he has done for local sports, my dad should also be recognized for being a great father, and now a grandfather, and a tremendously kind and generous man. I'm extremely proud to introduce tonight for induction in the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, my father, Dan.
Dan, it's my honor to officially induct you into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. Here is your plaque, your ring, and a certificate from Assemblyman Andy Goodell. Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you. Jennifer, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. She was worried about that. I'd like to congratulate, first of all of the athletes here tonight. Those awards you received were outstanding. Thank you to the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors for this honor tonight. And thank you to all the volunteers who keep the doors open all year long at the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the 5 other inductees here tonight. This is a night you'll remember for the rest of your lives, as I will. When I look at this crowd here tonight, and as Randy mentioned, this is a huge crowd, a record-breaking crowd, I see all these great coaches, ex-coaches, great players, and ex-players, all these great sports people here tonight. And I wonder, why am I up here tonight? I think back, when I was a kid, I was a shy little kid. My parents never really forced me into sports. I really didn't get involved with sports or interested in sports until I was 14 years old. That's when my uncle bought me a little transistor radio, if you remember those were, and I would listen to that little transistor radio for sports play-by-play. I'd listen to Major League Baseball games with that radio tucked under my pillow. I'd listen to basketball games from play-by-play announcers across the country. I would listen to Van Miller call the play-by-play of the Buffalo Bills. And sports became a passion with me because of that little radio. And I get back here tonight, and again, I look at this wonderful crowd here tonight, and I see some very special people. And I realize, and I know why I'm up here tonight. You see, tonight, not about me. Tonight, it's about all those special people in my life. All those coaches, all those players, all those coaches who became players, who let me share their joys, their achievements, their accomplishments, and some of their sorrows as well, letting me broadcast their games and be part of their life. I'm here tonight to say thank you. You're why I'm up here tonight. When I was in Dunkirk High School, my gym teacher was Al Stumiller. Now, Al Stumiller was a great coach and athletic director at Dunkirk High School. 25 years ago this week, he was inducted to this Hall of Fame. When I interviewed Al Stumiller after that award, he said how he loved going to work each morning, how he loved the kids at Dunkirk High School. His job was a passion to him. No one had more spirit ever at Dunkirk High School than Al Stumiller. Across town, there was Roger Moore, also a Hall of Fame inductee. The great Roger Moore was a coach and athletic director at Fredonia High School. And even though I didn't broadcast his games that much because he passed away after 2 years when I came to the radio station, I got a chance to broadcast many of his games, including the last game he ever coached, a Section 6 championship basketball game in 1977. Now, Roger Moore and Al Stumler might not be here tonight, but their spirit endures forever as Hall of Famers. One person that is here tonight that I would really like to thank, and he's been with me for 37 years, is Frank Chagotta. Frank Chagotta is celebrating his 20th anniversary of coaching baseball at Dunkirk High School. Frank Chagotta first became a part of my life when he was a Babe Ruth player 37 years ago. I broadcast his games when he played for Coach Stumler at Dunkirk High School, and I broadcast his games as a coach. Thank you, Frank. You're a special part of this night. Thank you, Frank, for keeping the tradition of Dunkirk High School Al Stumler baseball alive. Thank you for supporting me all these years. And thank you for all the memories, both as a player and as a coach. And thank you for the memories of your mom and dad, because your mom and dad were the spirit of baseball at Dunkirk. Even long after Frank graduated school out of Babe Ruth, they still supported that Dunkirk team, whether it be Babe Ruth or Dunkirk baseball. And they treated me like a son as well. Across town in Fredonia, there was Pete Crichone, the baseball coach at Fredonia High School. Now, Pete Crichone's last game was in the state championship in 1996 in Herkimer. I remember broadcasting that game and interviewing Pete after that game. And Pete said to me, the one time he got upset with his team when they were losing a few games and they weren't having any fun. He said to them, baseball is a game. Baseball is meant to be fun. After that, they started winning all the way to the state tournament. Well, Pete Crichone, you have made baseball, and you have made coaching baseball fun for so many kids, including Vinny Gullo, who's also here tonight. Vinny Gullo, the current Fredonia coach of Fredonia baseball, 20 years after he played first base in the 1985 state championship tournament, Vinny coached the Fredonia Hillbillies to the tournament in 2005, winning it all in 2006. Thank you, Vinny, for keeping that tradition alive like Frank Chagotta is doing in Dunkirk. And I hope both of you coach baseball in Dunkirk, Fredonia for many years to come. Also tonight, Dave Crichone is here. Now, Dave Crichone and I go way back to Dunkirk High School. Dave Crichone was a great student in school, had a dream to be a major league player, which he became. He also had 3 great daughters who played sports in high school, and I knew him as a father, a major league player, and a high school student. But it wasn't until this past year when I heard a radio play-by-play tape of his walk-off home run for the Baltimore Orioles that I realized what a true superstar he was. What an honor it is to know you, Dave. Thank you. As a Hall of Famer, thank you for being here tonight. Dave Crichone. Also here tonight is Bob Wisniewski. Bob Wisniewski was a Hall of Fame inductee 2 years ago. When I was a lowly freshman at Dunkirk High School, Bob Wisniewski was the star athlete, played football, played basketball, baseball, track. And when I started my broadcast career in 1975, Bob also started coaching at Dunkirk High School in basketball that same year. And we've been through so many wonderful games, so many great interviews, Section 6 championship games and Division I championships. Thank you, Bob, for your support and those great memories. Over at Cardinal Manzeni was Bob Moscato, another Hall of Famer. Bob was a coach and athletic director for Cardinal Manzeni High School. Now, there's nobody in coaching that's better at X's and O's than Bob Moscato. Later on, after Cardinal Manzeni closed, Bob Moscato went over to coach with Bob Wisniewski as his assistant. But I remember those Cardinal Manzeni days, that little school in Dunkirk, that little school with a big heart that had to play those big Catholic schools in Buffalo. And all those players and all those coaches did so well for that team as the athletic director, Bob Moscato. These are great people that have been Hall of Famers, people that I remember with my heart here tonight. There's also 2 gentlemen here that brought me some great memories, Dave Pochetti and John Giovanni. Now, both of these guys were coaching together for so many years in different sports. They took two different teams to the state championships, girls softball at Fredonia and boys basketball at Fredonia. Those were wonderful years of going to the state championship, but what I remember the most about these two gentlemen is they took young kids and taught them how to play softball. They taught them how to play basketball, and they gave them memories. By the time they were a senior, memories that would last a lifetime. They touched these youngsters, they touched their parents, and Dave and John, you touched my heart as well. If you've ever gone to Pine Valley for a baseball game, you'll notice that the field is called the Charles M. LaDuca Field. Well, Charlie LaDuca, who's here tonight, the reason it's called the Charles M. LaDuca Field is because if you leave your mark on a program like Charlie did, an award like that comes to you. Now, Charlie LaDuca, back in 1997, had a team, Pine Valley, that trailed Notre Dame in the regionals by a 10-0 score. Later on in that game, they came back and won the game 11-10. And the reason they came back in that big regional game is because in baseball, there's no clock. And there's no clock in baseball, and there's no quit in a Charlie LaDuca coach team. Thank you, Charlie. Congratulations on all of your championships. We also have someone here that is very special to me, Alex Conte. His name was mentioned earlier tonight. Alex Conte is a wonderful man and a wonderful coach. Now, in wrestling, there are about 100 schools who have wrestling programs in Section 6. Of all these hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers that have wrestled over the course of history of all these schools, there's only been 9 wrestlers who have 100 or more career pins. And of those 9 wrestlers, 6 of them are coached by Alex Conte. He's also had 5 state champions. Now, the reason Alex Conte is such a great coach, he motivates people. He motivates his wrestlers to be the best that they can. And every time I see Alex, he wants me to do the best I can because he is a great coach, a great person. Thank you, Alex, for your support. There's a gentleman who surprised me here tonight, didn't even know he was coming. But Frank Casoro came all the way from Virginia tonight just to see me here tonight. It's a big Babe Ruth area. Frank Casoro and I had a chance to be involved with Babe Ruth baseball in Dunkirk for many years, traveling all around the state, supporting those kids, whether they're 13, 14, 15, or older. Thank you, Frank Casoro, for being here tonight. You being here tonight is very special to me. There's also some people that aren't here tonight I'd like to mention. Hall of Famers. Big Don Reinhaut. Don Reinhaut wanted to be here so badly, Hall of Fame member. But Don had to have me send his best wishes. And I'd like to say that Don Reinhaut not only is the world's strongest man, he's the nicest man I've ever met. Also here tonight, the parents of our own Olympic hero, Jennifer Schur. Mark and Sue are here tonight. I would like to thank Mark and Sue for all of the support all these years and for letting me into your home on that golden day this past summer when your daughter won the gold medal. And to be able to watch that pole vault champion win the gold medal and have Mark as my color commentator on that radio broadcast was very, very special. Thank you, Mark. Also here tonight, 2 other Hall of Famers I'd like to thank, Art Asquith and also Pat Demore. I'd like to thank them for all of their support. Some people who aren't here tonight that I would like to thank that are very important in my broadcast life, Bill Walters, the coach of Dunkirk High School in 1988 when the Marauders won the state championship. Also, Lynn Dorler and John Schlieba, 2 coaches at Dunkirk High School in girls softball. They won 19 straight Division I championships in a row. A big thank you to them as well. There's also some people here tonight from my radio station that I've worked with over the course of many years that have come here for me. There's Dave Raleigh, 20 years. He's been our news director. We also have Alicia Brunecki, who worked with me for all those years. We also have Matt Schrader, who came in and surprised me tonight. Didn't know that Matt was going to be here. Thank you, Matt, for showing up and attending this function. Those people were very special in my life. Valerie Pavlak is here tonight, one of my biggest supporters of trying to get me into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you, Valerie, for being here tonight. All these people are very special in my life. All these people here tonight mean so much to me. There's also some people that broadcast games with me, and we're talking about Juan Vasquez and Greg Mayer. Juan Vasquez and I have the same type of sense of humor, and we had so much fun broadcasting games. Broadcasting the game and doing the play-by-play was only part of it. The camaraderie that we had was something outstanding that we just had so much fun, and I'll remember those times, Juan, until I die. You meant so much to me in all those broadcasts. Also here tonight from North Carolina making the special trip up is Greg Mayer. When Greg Mayer and I started broadcasting sports in 1990 for 9 years, I think Greg was a good luck charm because that's when all the state championships began. Greg Mayer and I had a chance to travel all around the state, having fun. We covered 13 state tournaments, 16 regionals, and 4 federation tournaments together. It was fun. It was just a wonderful time of my life. It was the best time of my life, and I thank Greg Mayer for being here tonight. Those are some people very special in my life, but there's also a gentleman here tonight that coached football at Fredonia with his father for many years. Back in 1975, Dave Ball was the Fredonia football coach. Later on, in 1985, when his team went to Ralph Wilson Stadium and won the championship, his ball boy was a 13-year-old youngster, Bobby Ball, Dave's son. And then in 2010, Dave Ball won the championship of Section 6 at Ralph Wilson Stadium, taking it further than his dad, going all the way to the state Final Four. Thank you, Bob. Tell your dad that my wishes are with him, too. Speaking of Ralph Wilson Stadium, there's one coach that I wanted to call and ask if I could use his name. A guy that's been to Ralph Wilson Stadium more times than I can remember, and I guess it was like 8 times that Bob Krenzer was at Ralph Wilson Stadium, and I had a chance to be there to broadcast his games. I asked Bob, I said, can I use your name in my speech? And he said, I'm surprised that you even remember me. And I said, Bob, how could anyone forget one of the great coaches of Chautauqua County, Bob Krenzer of Pine Valley? These were all great people. These are all great people that I remember and helping me through all of these years of broadcasting sports. I also would like to mention somebody very special. Back 23 years ago, I met a coach and I met a team. That coach was Tim Nobles, and the team was Pine Valley's Lady Panther basketball team. In 1990, 23 years ago, for the first time ever, they reached the state championship in basketball. And everyone had high hopes and dreams of them winning a state championship. But in the semifinals that year, they lost. And many thought their hopes and dreams were gone, dashed, and that opportunity, that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was over. Well, let me tell you, 7 state championships later, and over 500 wins later, Tim Nobles and the Pine Valley Lady Panthers showed everyone why Pine Valley basketball, playing team ball, that's what it's all about. There's no I in team, as they say. I have a quote from Tim Nobles. Tim Nobles once said to me, a great team will beat a great player every time. And I see Tim and his wife Teresa out in the audience. I see many of the players from Pine Valley out in the audience. And I can't wait until someday I'm sitting out in this audience and Tim Nobles is up here receiving his honor as a Hall of Famer. Thank you, Tim. Those were great years because you guys treated me like family. I've got some special people in my family to thank. I'd like to thank my mom and dad who have passed away, also my sister and my 2 brothers. My mom really was not a big sports person. If she was here tonight, she would look at all this stuff and she really wouldn't know what was going on. All she would know is that I have a lot of friends and people like me, and that's good for a little shy boy who was not involved with sports many years ago. Finally, I'd like to thank some people that are my immediate family. My wife, Kathy, is not here tonight, but my wife is babysitting our 2 grandkids. She would have loved to have been here tonight, but she loves those kids so much, she wanted to be with them. So I want to tell you about her. She's a very special part of my life, even though my wife, Kathy, is not a big sports fan. In fact, she's only been to 1 of my sporting broadcasts. That was back 37 years ago, and it was the New York State Babe Ruth Championship. And it was a 2-day tournament, at least, maybe more. She saw a chance to go away, spend the weekend at a motel, and have fun. And she didn't realize at the time that you should be sit out there for 4 hours on a Saturday and 4 hours on a Sunday, getting the worst sunburn she ever had in her life. So she's never been back to any of my broadcasts. But I have to thank her for other things. And the most important thing that I have to thank her for is her support in my career. Because in broadcasting and in sports, there are many big egos. Big egos in sports and broadcasting seem to go together. You got to control that ego. And she always controlled any ego I might have. If my ego ever got this high, she'd always make sure I was grounded and brought it back down. On the same token, if ever I felt down and depressed about anything in my broadcast life, and I was down here, she brought it back up. I have to thank her for making the kind of a person I am. If you like who I am, I owe it all to my wife. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you very much. Now, I have somebody very special that I have to talk about. You saw her on the screen earlier, my daughter Jennifer. That's true. When she was about to be born, I was 100% sure she was going to be a boy. And when she was born, even though I didn't have a chance to play football with her and basketball and baseball, I tried to teach her a little bit of softball. I tried to teach her a little bit of basketball because girls can play those sports very well. That really didn't work out too well. So after that, I realized something. I learned one of the big lessons of my life. Don't try and change anybody and make them who you want them to be. Let them be who they are and let them be who they want to be. She became a great student. She became a great singer. She became a great wife. And she became a great mother. She's always been a great daughter, and I love her. And by the way, she didn't mention this, but I will. Along the way, she picked up a tennis racket and started playing tennis in high school, and she became a WDOE Player of the Week and a WDOE Athlete of the Day, and I did not show any favoritism either. But the most important thing with my daughter Jennifer, and the thing that the proudest that I as a father am of my broadcasting career and being a father is that I never missed one of her academic nights, as busy as I was. I never missed one of her concerts. I never missed one of her musicals. I never missed anything. I never missed anything important in her life because she is the most important thing in my life. Finally, I have to tell you about the final person I'd like to thank. It's my son-in-law, Scott. And I'm saving him for last because when Scott came into the picture, my daughter Jen and I were always best friends. We always did everything together. And Scott came along. And here's this man. And as a protective father, you know how it is. Who's this guy trying to get and interfere with this friendship that me and my daughter had? So I was a little jealous there, a little uneasy about that. Until I got to know Scott. When I got to know Scott, I realized what a great guy he was, what a great man he is. And when I found out that Scott Horton knows more about sports than anybody I ever knew, I finally had the son I didn't have before. Thank you, Scott. Many people ask me, why haven't you moved on to bigger and better things, making a better life for yourself in broadcasting? Why have you stayed at that little radio station? Well, the answer is real simple. It's people. It's people. When Dave Cushone and I were in high school at Dunkirk, we both had a dream. Dave Cushone's dream was to be a Major League Baseball player. My dream was to be a Major League Baseball broadcaster. Well, Dave's dream came true when he hit that home run for the Baltimore Orioles. My dream never came true. But I've had a chance to broadcast all three of Dave Cushone's daughters, Carrie and Casey and Kylie, as I've had a chance to broadcast hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other kids who now have their own kids. and I broadcast them as well. I've had a chance in my hometown area to meet so many people, to make so many friends, and to meet so many families. I would never, ever give it up for anything. This has been something very special to me. I've had a chance, through a microphone like this, to make someone happy every day of every year. And you know, we all come into this world the same way. And we all leave this world the same way. We're born and we die. And on our gravestone, there's the date that we're born, and a dash, and the date that we die. It's what you do with that dash that's important. It's what you do with that dash that really matters. If you can make someone happy every day of every year, you've made the most of that dash. I would like to thank the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame for this tremendous honor and this wonderful night tonight. This is a very special night for me. Thank you. And the reason this night is very special, because I've had a chance to share it with all of these special people. Thank you, everybody.